A very good evening, everyone. Well, this tie looks very much in Dutch hands after Peter Bosch's young side pulled off a very comfortable 2-0 first leg victory a week ago in the midst of a 5-match winning run. Schalke, by contrast, followed defeat in the Amsterdam Arena with another loss to the Bundesliga's bottom club, Darmstadt, at the weekend. A third reverse in 4 games for them, and only a massive improvement will prevent their season fizzling out dismally. They're currently below halfway in the Bundesliga. Ajax are the only club to have featured in all 8 of the Europa League seasons in the competition's current format, but surprisingly perhaps, this is their first ever quarter-final since the revamp, although they did win the old UEFA Cup in 1992. The average age of the side, which prevailed in the first leg thanks to 2 Davy Klaassen goals, was just 22 years old, and this exciting crop are also excelling in the Eredivisie, where they are just a point behind the leaders Feyenoord as they seek a first domestic title in 3 seasons. Schalke, who lifted the trophy in 1997, will hope their decent home form could be a saving grace. They haven't been beaten at the Veltins Arena in 7 matches back to January the 27th, and have won all previous meetings with Dutch opposition here by 3 goals or more. That's what they'll need to do tonight. Ajax, by contrast, who haven't been great on the road in Europe, 4 games since they last won, but they don't need to win tonight. A draw would do. Even a defeat by a single goal would be enough to take the Dutch side through to their first ever Europa League semi-final. The 2 teams are out in the middle. The referee tonight is from Romania, Ovidiu Hategan. I'll give you the team news once again if you missed it earlier. Schalke have had to replace both fullbacks. Timo Kehrer is suspended. Dennis Aogo's got an injury problem, although he is just about fit enough for the bench. It means that the former Fulham man Sasha Rita and Bosnian Sead Kolasinac come in on either side of the back 4. The other change from the first leg defeat sees the former Spurs midfielder Benjamin Stambouli in for Alessandro Schoff. Ajax are without their regular left back. Daley Sinkgraven is injured. Nick Vergever will play in that position, moving across from the middle, with Matthias de Ligt coming into central defence. The captain, Lasse Schöne, who served a suspension in the first leg, is back and replaces Donny van Beek in midfield. Schalke wearing blue and white, Ajax in a sort of fluorescent greeny yellow top with black shorts. By no means their first choice kit. Davy Klaassen and Benedict Houardes shaking hands. Klaassen it was who got the 2 goals at the Amsterdam Arena a week ago, which meant that Ajax take a handsome lead into this second leg. Both teams have several players in danger of suspension if they pick up a yellow card tonight, which none will want to do, particularly the Ajax ones, who are hoping to book a place in the last 4 of this competition. Besiktas, Lyon, Genk, Celta Vigo and Manchester United Anderlecht, of course, are the other matches tonight. We'll keep you up to date with all of those scores as they come in. But here in the 62,000 capacity Veltins Arena, which staged 5 games in the 2006 World Cup, including England against Portugal in that ill-fated quarter-final penalty defeat for Sven-Göran Eriksson's men. So the referee is about to get us underway in this magnificent modern arena, with a huge, giant electronic scoreboard hovering above the centre circle as Schalke get us underway. They've scored 10 and conceded just 1 in 3 previous home games against Dutch teams in European competition. That's quite a record, but they have been very, very below par generally this season, and the Darmstadt defeat at the weekend really was a new low. But they're coming forward here with a very, very positive early run down the left-hand side. The ball is clipped into the box and it's just pushed wide. It was a real chance for Leon Goretzka, who got on the end of the cross from the left-hand side. Ajax left them acres of space. Goretzka wasn't picked up, and his side-foot volley from the angle cross by the left-back Kolasinac went just wide.
It's an electric start from Schalke, exactly what they need. They're going to chase down this deficit. Really good play by Kolasinac down the left-hand side and cuts the ball back. You have to say Goretzka's got to do better there. He's 6 yards out, goal at his mercy, and he can't direct his volley on target. A really good positive start by Schalke.
Yeah, it was an early warning for Ajax. An early goal, of course, could completely transform this tie. Ajax cradling a 2-goal advantage, but were that to be cut, nerves would surely start jangling a little for the Dutch side. Their goalkeeper, Andre Onana, a Cameroon international, gets the ball back into play. He's wearing all red tonight, and it's another chance here for Schalke. The ball is played across to Maya, and his shot hits the post. It's yet another chance. They've started like a house on fire. The ball has eventually been scrambled away for a corner, but once again the Ajax defence left huge gaps at the back, and Maya, the 21-year-old midfield player, hit a left foot angle drive, and it hit the foot of Onana's post and went away before it was scrambled for a corner, which is taken by Maya. Not a particularly good one, knocked away at the near post, but back in it comes from Stambouli, the former Tottenham Hotspur player. Only 25 appearances at White Hart Lane, but as a loose looking back pass is just about dealt with by Ralph Farman, the home goalkeeper. Schalke are on the attack again. Ball is cut back from the near side, and Daniel Caligiuri's cross this time is misplaced, but well, Reece, it's been a terrific start from a team short on form. They certainly don't look like a struggling side in the evidence of the opening few minutes here.
They most certainly do not. Home advantage counts for an awful lot, it would seem. The Schalke have caught Ajax cold. Ajax really haven't started as yet. Defensively, they're looking a bit sluggish, affording Schalke far too much space. And Max Meyer, he just uses the defender as a shield and curls the ball around the outside. I think of Davinson Sanchez, and just clips the outside of Onana's post. Unfortunately for Schalke, it just goes the wrong side and out of play. But real dynamite stuff from Schalke. I mean, this goes to show, doesn't it, that a team can be a completely different animal when they're on their own patch. They know their surroundings, they're familiar with everything, and looks for all intents and purposes that Schalke are well up for this game.
Absolutely. We only had 4 minutes already. We've had 2 pretty good chances going the way of the home side, whose responsibility it is in this tie to try and get forward. Ajax, on the evidence of what we've seen so far, don't look like a team who are going to be very comfortable defending a lead, because there have been horrendous gaps at the back. Both the attempts came from Goretzka and Maya when both were in loads of space, and we saw Kolasinac down the left-hand side with the cross that led to the first one. Not well defended at all. It's pushed forward for Ajax by Veltman. The whistle has blown, and the Dutch side, I think, are going to get a free kick. Is it? No, it's a it is a free kick, in fact, or a throw to Ajax. I beg your pardon. Thought the referee had signalled a free kick. It's gone through to Bertrand Traoré, who you may remember as a Chelsea player. He's on loan from the Stamford Bridge club, with whom he made 16 appearances and scored 4 goals. He's been in terrific form for Ajax this season, 11 this season, including a couple in this competition. Ball is moved out of defence, but then lost, and won back by Traoré. But there's an offside flag on the far side, and Ajax I think we'll be grateful, Reece, to have the ball in the final third as far as the opposition's territory is concerned, because they really haven't settled very well at all here.
No, they haven't. It's really tricky as well when you're protecting a 2-goal lead. How do you approach the game? I would suggest that Ajax are far better suited to playing the natural free-flowing football as opposed to trying to contain Schalke, because you can sit back, you can try and defend, but when a team's looking pretty aggressive and showing a lot of attacking intent. You've got to offer something going the other way, and I know we've only had 5 minutes, but Schalke have had 2 or 3 really good chances. It seems like it's only a matter of time before they breach that Ajax defence once again.
Peter Bosz, the Ajax manager, wearing a grey scarf knotted in front of his black jacket, is looking somewhat concerned on the sidelines, gesticulating as Ziyech, his midfield player, has the ball nicked off him, but it's going to be a throw-in to Ajax close to the halfway line. It's taken quickly but inaccurately and prodded away by Nabil Bentaleb, another of the former Tottenham players for Schalke. Had rather more appearances with Spurs than Stambouli did, 56 of them. Here he is again on the ball, just rolling it out towards Meyer, who looks a slippery customer, the third youngest player ever to reach 100 appearances in the Bundesliga match. Meyer, he's now gone on to make over 150 and he's still 21. Finally the ball back to Ralph Farman, the tall bearded home goalkeeper, wearing all white today. Were it not for him, it could easily have been 4 or 5-0 to Ajax in the first leg, and that would have rendered this second leg largely academic. As it is, Schalke have shown that with little else to play for really in terms of this season, they're not involved in the German Cup, they're out of that. They have a very, very, very outside chance of qualifying for Europe next season via their league position. This is really like a cup final for them as they look to progress in a tournament which they won in 1997 on penalties against Internazionale of Italy. 7.5 minutes gone here. Benedict Howard is the World Cup winning centre half. Will knock the ball forward from this free kick just inside the Schalke half. It's easily defended by Vergever, playing as a left back rather than his customary centre half position. There was a thought that they might maintain him in that central position and draft in Jairo Riedwald, but Riedwald's not even in the squad tonight, so a lot on the shoulders of the young recent Dutch international debutant Matthijs de Ligt, only 17. He had a bit of a nightmare start against Bulgaria in that World Cup qualifier, was at fault for both goals in a match which they eventually lost 2-0 and was substituted at half-time. Here comes Schalke again round the back, and the ball in was a decent one again from the overlapping left-back Kolasinac, and this time he's put it too close to Andre Onana, the goalkeeper who started at Barcelona for Ajax. It was beautifully taken into his stride by Kolasinac, but the cross in the end didn't really trouble the goalkeeper. Yeah,
it was really good play again by the left back. Young Justin Kluivert got caught sleeping there. He was ball watching as that ball drifted over his head. Kolasinac watched the ball all the way onto his foot. He got to the byline, cut the ball back, but unfortunately once again for Schalke, straight into the grateful grasp of Andre Onana. But Schalke looking so comfortable at the moment, popping the ball around, showing no respect to Ajax.
They're out wide again, but there is an offside flag on this occasion. You mentioned Justin Kluivert. In case you're wondering, the answer is yes, he is the son of Patrick Kluivert, who at just a year older than his son is currently scored a winning goal in a Champions League final for Ajax in 1995. His son is following in the footsteps. He's made 14 appearances this season for Ajax after making his debut in September, and he got his first senior goal back in March in a draw at Excelsior. Just short of 10 minutes played. Schalke overwhelmingly the better team, but without the early goal yet that they crave to try and give Ajax a real scare. Stambouli pushes it down the line. It's a little bit under hit, and it's well defended by Vergever, who drives it left-footed up towards Traore, who wins it using good strength and waits for support. He's got it here from Younes, and Younes will look to cut it square. It bounces off a defender straight back to Younes, the 23-year-old German of Lebanese descent, and Ajax have just about managed to start getting a feel of the ball. De Ligt plays it forward, it's intercepted by a defender, back it comes to the halfway. Lasse Schöne, back from suspension in midfield, drives forward. Path is blocked at the moment. He's found Klaassen. This is V Ajax, left-hand side, and here's Younes again, lively once more, but running into trouble as Stambouli wins it back for Ajax, with Schöne coming forward. Traoré tries to tee it up. The ball is inside the Schalke box. It's cut back dangerously by Traoré and then cleared by the home team. Manchester United 1, Anderlecht 0, and Henrik Mkhitaryan, who scored in the first leg in Brussels, has done it again after 10 minutes. So Manchester United lead that tie by 2-1. Elsewhere it is goalless in the other games. Besiktas at home to Lyon, with the French side leading 2-1 in that match, which of course was blighted by crowd trouble last time out, and Genk 0, Celta Vigo 0, with the Spanish side 3-2 up from the first leg. Here it remains Ajax 2, Schalke 0 on aggregate, with 12 minutes played, and the Dutch current second team in the Eredivisie have a free kick in a dangerous position wide on the right hand side of the penalty area, and both Schöne and Ziyech are standing over the ball. There's a three-man wall. It does really look as if it's the sort of thing that they might have a shot from, unless they're feeling particularly adventurous. It's more likely to be a cross, you would fancy, but Ziyech has gone for it, and really the distance beat him in the end, because although he got his effort on target, it was nowhere near powerful enough, and it was a really simple save from Ralph Farman.
It was a long way out to use a side foot, try and bend and whip the ball over the wall. Goalkeeper's positioning was spot on. Farman wasn't really troubled there. Shot was on target. It's just shown signs that they're coming into this game now.
Bentaleb with the long ball forward. It's knocked away by Davinson Sanchez, the Colombian central defender, who's one of the players in the Ajax lineup who's in danger of missing a potential semi-final were they to be booked. Goalkeeper Anana, Nick Viergiva and Davy Klaassen are the others, as Schalke launched the ball forward towards Guido Bergstaller, who's got the better of his man. Toe pokes it in towards Caligiuri, and it's again well defended by Ajax, but again they're getting real joy down that right hand side, or their left hand side as they attack, and the right hand side as Ajax defend. There's going to be a break here because one of the visiting players has gone down injured, but that flank with Veltman not at the moment getting too much help from Hakim Ziyech looks like a potential profitable area for Schalke if they're going to get back into the tie.
Yeah, not defending particularly well at the moment, Ajax, and I think it's Justin Kluivert that's been tasked with controlling that right flank for Ajax, but he's not doing his defensive duties. Davinson Sanchez didn't really cover himself in glory there either. He was very square on as he faced up. I think it was Daniel Caligiuri. Nutmeg straight through. Round he goes. There's a covering tackle that came in from De Ligt, but not great defending from the big Colombian centre-back.
Here come Schalke again on the far side. Cross is square this time, and it's struck by Leon Goretzka, a long way over the top. He's got 7 goals in all competitions this season, including one recently against Wolfsburg in a 4-1 win, which is Schalke's only win in the last 5 games. He hit it hard but off balance, and it spun off his foot and went a good way over the top. 15 minutes played at the Veltins Arena, goalless so far. 0-0 would suit Ajax. Schalke have to score at least 2 without reply just to take us into extra time. I'm sure you all know the situation by now. Only a replica of the first leg score, with the other team winning, can lead to extra time and possibly penalties here. Ball is driven forward by Sanchez, but not particularly well, and Schalke, whose fans are getting behind them a little bit, are certainly the better team, although as Reece says, Ajax have belatedly got their act together a little bit after some very shaky defending in the opening few minutes. Here's Kluivert. If you blink, you'd think it was Patrick Kluivert. They look incredibly similar, and I'm sure Ajax are hoping that they'll end up having similar careers, because Kluivert is obviously a legend. Here's Vergiva, left-hand side, plays it into Traore, who takes it away from his man, tries to cut it back, but it was under hit and easy for the 28-year-old goalkeeper Ralph Farman, a huge figure, 6'5" tall. He hasn't kept a clean sheet in 5 games, but my goodness me, were it not for him, this tie would be very, very different, believe me. He was outstanding in Amsterdam and really has given his side a fighting chance perhaps of progressing. They won their group fairly comfortably, Schalke, ahead of Krasnodar, Salzburg and Nice. Their only defeat was against Salzburg, but that was in the last group match where they'd already qualified, so it was a pretty successful campaign to get to this stage. They then beat PAOK, the Greek side, before a German derby against Borussia Mönchengladbach, which they won on away goals after 2 draws. So they've had a pretty good campaign in this competition, and if they can get through, it'll just soothe some of the misery of the Bundesliga campaign, which has been anything but successful. Header away is by Vergiva. It's picked up in midfield by Stambouli, who gets it forward but then loses it, and Talish plays it back to Onana. All in red apart from bright yellow boots and gloves. Stambouli heads it back forward for Schalke towards Caliguri, who can't prevent it going out of play on the near side. Ajax have won all of their last 5 games and have won 7 of their last 8 with 1 draw, so they are in terrific form. The only time they've lost recently was against Copenhagen in the previous round by 2-1 in Denmark, but of course they progressed on aggregate from the tie. Ball knocked forward by Maya, but it doesn't find its intended target, and Kluivert will bring it forward down the right hand side, just turns and looks for support. Ball is played square across towards Younes. Younes does well to slip his way through, but then a great recovering tackle is made by Sasha Rita, 34 years of age now, the former Fulham player. Enjoyed a decent little spell by the banks of the Thames at Craven Cottage. He's also played for Freiburg, Cologne and Wolfsburg, with whom he won the German title in 2009. Loose and weak shot from distance by Goretzka, but he's a player who's had a few opportunities, hasn't he, the number 8 Leon Goretzka, another of the youngsters or younger players at Schalke, 22 years old. He hasn't got one that's really damaged the Ajax defence yet, but he looks like the sort of player who might create something from that forward midfield role.
Yeah, he gets forward quite nonchalantly, doesn't he? He just finds himself in his attacking advanced positions, and he's had a few opportunities, none better than the first 2 or 3 minutes when he put his volley wide of the target from 7 yards. But he's playing slightly more advanced than his midfield partners, and he's popping up in some really good promising positions. In the previous patch of the play, Younes did really well initially to get away from the challenge of Rita, and had he got his head up, he could have played Klaassen into a great position.
Here's Kluivert for Ajax. It's a good run, and he's just prevented by Stambouli from getting into the penalty area. It was good approach play by him. You're listening to Schalke against Ajax in the Europa League, live on TalkSport 2 with Selco Builders Warehouse. Thousands of trade products to click and collect online. Find your nearest store at selcobw.com. 20 minutes gone at the Veltins Arena.
in Gelsenkirchen. Schalke, the club named after one of the districts of the city where the club was formed. You might be surprised to learn in 1904, hence the full name Schalke 04 or Schalke 04 as it's known in Germany. They've 7 times won the Bundesliga, but not since 1958. Here's Younes, who looks a lively player for Ajax, tries to feed Traore. Well, he did get the ball through to Traore, who tried in one movement to just push it past a defender and run onto the ball, but it didn't come off and the ball's gone out of play on the far side. The referee, I think, has spotted some sort of infringement. The Ajax coach, Peter Bosz, that scarf wrapped around his neck in stark contrast to Marcus Weinzel, his opposite number, who's very casual in an open neck shirt and black jacket. Free kick to Ajax will be taken by Veltman, who finds Schöner. It's Sanchez. It goes all the way back to Andre Onana, just 21 years old. It's his breakthrough season, this one. His only clean sheet in the last 6 games was against Schalke in the first leg. Now this is potentially dangerous for Ajax. The ball's been worked out to Nick Vergever. It wasn't a particularly good ball. It forces the full-back to scamper back and find Younes. Schalke wants offside. It's not going to be given, and Younes has clipped a ball through, but it's been deflected by a defender and it's gone behind for a corner, which I think is the first of the game. It was a good decision by the assistant referee on the far side. There was no way that Younes was offside, and it just came back in the end off Stambouli, and it's going to be a corner kick to Ajax at the exact midway point in the first half. It's been taken by Hakim Ziyech, an out-swinger, and it's flicked away quite comfortably. Kluivert waits to put it back in. It's too long for Traore, but Ziyech smashes it firmly against Sasha Rita's body, and again it goes behind for another Ajax corner. A bit of pressure from the visitors. Yeah, they've just started to play a little bit more with a bit more confidence now. Ajax passing the ball around. They've earned a couple of corners in quick succession. He's got good quality, Ziyech, as he lines up another corner from the left-hand side. Yep, another outswinger from the Moroccan, and it found De Ligt, and then an overhead kick, spectacularly struck in the end and just about scrambled to safety by goalkeeper Farman. De Ligt up there with the knock on, and then the bicycle kick, I think it was by Vergever, who caused the goalkeeper to scramble a little. That's a foul by Younes on Rita. Let's have another look at that opportunity, Reese. It was Vergever. It was acrobatic but lacked power, and Furman fumbled it initially but claimed it.
Yeah, lucky there, Shab, because they all got caught ball watching. They were watching the first ball, and when they didn't win it, the defenders were all coming out. They had no idea where Vergever was behind them.
Yes, Goretzka, sorry Reese, as the ball is played in dangerously by Schalke but repelled by Ajax.
I was going to say, it came off Vergever's shin pad, I think, when he was attempted to shoot the spectacular.
Get massive connection on it. It's a throw into Schalke, who will feel that they need to at least get a goal before half-time. I think Ajax will be pleased to have negotiated almost 25 minutes without conceding. The ball's gone over the line on the near side. It's going to be a throw-in to Ajax, which rather spoils Schalke's ambitions of trying to launch another assault on the Ajax goal.
I almost get the impression that Schalke really need to score in the first 10 minutes when they were really on top, because now Ajax look a lot more comfortable, a lot more assured, in possession, out of possession. They seem to have got their shape right now. Schalke have just gone off the ball a little bit in the last 5 minutes or so, haven't they?
Yep, they have, but they do have a free kick about 10-15 yards inside the Ajax half in a dead central position. Rita has spent the best part of the last minute or so tying and untying his boots. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's been sort of slumped down on one knee, sorting out his footwear. Meanwhile, the game is carrying on without him. Free kick is played into the Ajax box. It was met by Guido Burgstaller, the Austrian striker, but he couldn't direct his ball anywhere useful. He's got 8 goals for Schalke this season, but only 1 in his last 7 games, so he's due a goal. That's a poor ball out of defence by Ajax, but they've got away with it because it was picked up by Ziyech. Here's Veltman. Ziyech again with a sort of blonde Mohican style diagonal haircut across his head, a la Arturo Vidal. Flicked forward by Ajax. Rita, who's finally managed to tie his shoes, gets the ball away, but Ajax have it again with V Ajax on this near side. Feeds it in to Davy Klaassen, who struck it firmly, looking to add to the 2 goals that he got to put Ajax in this dominant position from the first leg. And his shot took a deflection. It wasn't very well struck, but it hit a Schalke player. I think it was Kolasinac on the way through, and they have a corner kick. Ziyech, another out swinger with his left foot. There are only 4 Ajax players inside the box. It might come through to De Ligt, who comes up for all these corners and set pieces. He's a player who scored a lot of goals as a junior. He's got a couple this season already, including one in the big win against Heerenveen on Sunday. They won by 5 goals to 1. Back it goes to Farman, who's been busier in the last 10 minutes certainly than he was in the opening 15 or so. Referee's blown again. Burgstaller is penalised. Henrik Mkhitaryan's goal at Old Trafford remains the only goal tonight in the Europa League. Besiktas 0, Lyon 0. Genk 0, Celta Vigo 0, if all those scores would have stayed the same. Ajax, United, Vigo and Lyon would go through to the draw, which is taking place tomorrow. The line-up, of course, for the Champions League semi-finals. One of Schalke's fiercest rivals, Dortmund, were ousted by Monaco yesterday in an exciting game which you heard on TalkSport 2, bringing you all the European action throughout the season. The final of this competition is in Stockholm at the end of May. At the moment, Schalke, the surprise finalist, you would have to say, given that they have spent 28.5 minutes trying to get themselves back into this tie without any successes yet. Lost the ball here, and Sanchez plays it forward to Ziyech, who drives it square towards Joel Veltman, who at 25 is one of the senior citizens in this Ajax team. Schöne is the only player who is a 30-something. Here's Klaassen. There's a burst through the middle by Vergever, but he just lost sight of the ball and it was clipped away from him. Vergever now has to make the long run back to his station at left back as Schalke tried to get forward with Kolasinac. Header away is by De Ligt, who then goes in and tries to win it back. Can't do so. This is Nabil Bentaleb. That's a nice ball slipped through to Burgstaller, but again he's offside. He's furious with the official on the near side. He put his flag up nice and early. It was a good ball by Bentaleb. It was also, well, how you complain about that, I do not know. He's 2 yards offside at least.
Wasn't even close, was it? They held a good line there, Ajax. And I've been watching De Ligt quite closely. Obviously, really highly regarded young player. He looks very relaxed in possession. He takes a few chances, but he looks really impressive, the young man. Really confident. It's great to see these youngsters being given a chance, especially at this level. You know, they're not being drip-fed into the team. They're really given a run. As the old saying, if they're good enough, they're old enough. Yeah. It's proving to be the case, and it's the only way you're going to find out whether these young kids can cut it or not is by giving them the opportunity. And He certainly unearthed a little diamond there, Ajax, I think.
Yeah, he and Kluivert are the two youngest, both 17. I think it says a lot about De Ligt, actually, that he had such a nightmare on his international debut. Doesn't seem to have let it affect him. I mean, there were some people saying he shouldn't have been brought into a struggling Dutch international team. They're having an awful time, Holland, at international level, and to bring a kid like that into a struggling side was not a good idea, and there was criticism, and of course Danny Blint, the manager, has gone, but credit to the youngster, he seems to have put it behind him. That's a clever dummy, and it almost worked. It was Ziyech who let it run through. Traore was onto it, and he couldn't quite get to the pace of the ball, but Ajax are bossing things at the moment. Here's Sanchez, the tall Colombian international. De Ligt, we've been talking about on the ball here, finding Vergever, who's another of the more experienced campaigners. Ajax could break here. That's a wonderful ball. Offside. Ball's gone into the net, but it's not going to count. Bertrand Traore running forward onto a lovely diagonal ball, but the flag went up. Frustration for Peter Bosz and the Ajax fans inside the Veltins arena. Traore just set off too early. It was a good decision by the official.
It was tight. That was much tighter than the previous Bergstaller decision that we saw. Great ball as well though by Younes, wasn't it? Really good vision. He's had a bright first half actually for Ajax. Yes. He's been pivotal in everything they've done well going forward. Just to go back again to De Ligt when we see this passage of play.
Yeah, the ball's just been nodded out of the Ajax box. It's fallen to Vergever, who strikes it left-footed up towards Traore, who's trying to get the better of his marker, who was Matej Nastasic, the former Manchester City player. Anderlecht have scored, I'm told, at Old Trafford. It's one apiece there, so that's level on aggregate. And it was 1-1 in the first leg, so could be heading for extra time. We'll confirm the scorer when we know who that is. Manchester United had gone ahead through Henrik Mkhitaryan early on, but as they did in Brussels, Anderlecht have equalised, and it's one apiece. It's Besiktas 1, Lyon 1. So the Turks are ahead on the night. 2-2 on aggregate there as the ball is played into the Schalke box. Klaassen manages to drive it across towards Younes, who looks a bright spark, gets to the byline, needs to drag it back. He does so, and a really good tackle by Stamboli to prevent Ajax getting a shot on goal, but it's the Dutch side on top at the moment as Klaassen tussles on the near side with Caligiuri, and in the end concedes a free kick.
Yes, that man Younes again, 1v1. He skips past Sacharita like he's not even there, cuts the ball back. It's a little bit of a touch, I think, from how it is at the near post, and it drops to Schöne, who gets his shot away, but it's a superb block. Didn't see who it was. I think it was Nastasic who threw his body in the way and took the sting out of the shot. But much better play from Ajax. They've looked far more assured in the last 10 minutes or so. Really shaky start to the first half, but they're showing now why they are comfortably ahead in this tie.
Yeah, they've got better as the half has gone on. Sofiane Hani, incidentally, is the Anderlecht player who's equalised at Old Trafford, so it's one apiece, where United draw so often this season. Jose Mourinho must be tearing his hair out. They keep drawing in the Premier League, and at the moment they're drawing at home in Europe as well. As I mentioned, 1-1 would replicate the score in Brussels, so at the moment that one is absolutely neck and neck. Besiktas 1, Lyon 0. And Besiktas have an away goal, so they at the moment are in the driving seat there as Goretzka drives forward for Schalke, and the shot comes in from Meyer with his right foot. He got underneath it a bit and he's hoisted it over the crossbar, but that'll give the home fans a little bit of heart because they've been on the back foot for the last 10 minutes or so. Really good break by Goretzka. Meyer was in a good position, but his execution wasn't great.
Yeah, Schöne difficult caught in possession for Ajax there, and Goretzka breaking into the 18-yard box, the Ajax 18-yard box, and it wasn't the greatest of balls he played to Max Meyer. Kind of skipped into him. It's just hopped up in front of me as he's trying to take a shot, and he's ballooned it over the bar, but good passage of play.
Bentaleb finds Kolasinac, and his cross is deflected behind. So with 10 minutes to go, the blue and white clad German supporters who make up the majority inside this arena are on their feet because their team have a corner which is curled in from the far side and knocked across goal and behind harmlessly in the end. It was their first corner of the match, Schalke. At the other end, we had a chance when Younes cut a lovely ball back, and it was Schöne attempting to shoot on goal, and had Bentaleb not made a terrific challenge, he might well have done that and it could have been 1-0 Ajax. It was really good defending by the former Spurs man. That's a free kick to the Dutch side inside their own half. The referee for the first time really has to go and have a quick word. He's been fairly anonymous, the referee, which is always a good thing. V Ajax of Romania, but he's going to speak to certainly one of the Dutch team, David Klaassen, involved in a bit of a tangle, I think, with Caligiuri, and words enough for the referee, and it's a free kick to Ajax, the 3 times European Cup winners in the days of the great Johan Cruyff and Johan Neeskens and Ruud Krol in the early 70s. I'm old enough to remember those days. I don't think you are, Reece.
You wouldn't think to look at me, John. No, but not quite. No.
It was a hell of a team, I can tell you that. Lovely ball in early for Schalke, and that's brilliantly defended by V Ajax because Burgstaller had taken up a good position just behind the penalty spot, and it was a really good early cross from the left-hand side by Kolasinac, and Burgstaller was denied by V Ajax. Timely intervention. We've got 7.5 minutes to go to half-time here. Lyon have equalised against Besiktas, and it's Alexandre Lacazette, their main man, who's got the goal 11 minutes before half-time to make it 1-1 and put the French side back in control of that tie. They lead by 3-2 on aggregate. Here come Schalke in Germany, just overrun a little bit by Goretzka, which allowed the Ajax defender Veltman to get across from his position at right back and sweep the ball out of harm's way.
Very frustrated Max Meyer there. Goretzka, he's done really well actually. He's beaten Sanchez really easily, but rather than looking up and playing in his midfield partner, he's tried to go again and he's been dispossessed. Good defending by Veltman coming across from the right back position, but Goretzka's had many chances this evening so far, a couple of shots on target, but also a couple of opportunities to play his teammates into better positions, which he's not taken. Very frustrating for the Schalke bench watching him do that.
Throw in midway inside the Ajax half for Schalke. A stadium, a sea of blue and white, but for a little pocket of red and white clad Ajax fans. That was a mistake though by Sead Kolasinac, who was born in Germany but plays for Bosnia-Herzegovina. Now then, here's a chance for Younes for Ajax. It was a really good block by Rita. The ball has spilled away to this near side. It's going to be a throw in. Younes found himself inside the box. As you've mentioned, he looks a useful customer. Here's Vergiva with a ball swung in, solidly headed away by Howardez. And Schalke will try and work the ball forward. Stamboli finds Caligiuri with a decent pass, and there's 2 blue-shirted players on the far side, but Bentaleb, one of them, couldn't get the desired touch, and he's come off his toe and gone out of play. But Marcus Weinzel, the Schalke coach, once of Augsburg, was applauding that break by Schalke, although it came to nothing. We're almost up to 40 minutes and it's still goalless, a scoreline which will be joyful for the Dutch, less so for the Germans, but still a long way to go. But Schalke, as we said before, would cherish a goal before half-time. They won't get one here because the ball has been pushed back to Andre Onana, who clears almost towards halfway. It's picked up by Stambouli, who works it over to the far side where Maya picks it up. Chance here perhaps for a shot. It was hit by Nabil Bentaleb, who's saying that his effort was deflected. He's gone right up to the referee, who in no-nonsense terms tells him to go away.
It was just a horrific shot.
Yeah.
And he's trying to claim it's come off Davinson Sanchez. It's gone nowhere near him. It's interesting, John, isn't it? They made a big song and dance at the start of the season about respect for referees, and anybody complaining too vociferously will be shown a yellow card and cautioned. We've yet to see that really implemented this year.
Goodness me, the goalkeeper, Farman, fielding a back pass, albeit not in front of his goal, but just to the right of it, completely miskicked the ball. It bounced off his standing leg and has gone away for a throw. It hit an awful divot and it sliced off his shin, and Ajax have been gifted a throw in inside Schalke territory. Here's Traore finding Vergever, and now Younes just trying to wriggle his way past Sasha Rita, who does well, and it's a free kick to Schalke. You're listening to Schalke 04 against Ajax in the Europa League, live on TalkSport 2 with Selco Builders Warehouse. Thousands of trade products to click and collect online. Find your nearest store at selcobw.com. In Gelsenkirchen we have 3 minutes left of the opening half, which has been fairly even in the end. Schalke started very brightly, didn't get the early goal they wanted, although they had a couple of opportunities to do so. Ajax, you wouldn't say, have created too much in the way of clear-cut opportunities, but the onus is not on them, of course, to do so. They've had a goal disallowed correctly for offside against Traore, and they now have a free kick just inside the Schalke half. The referee again is having words with the Ajax captain, Davy Klaassen. Free kick's going to be taken by Lasse Schöne. He's talking a long time about it, and the home fans are getting annoyed. So is the referee, who tells him to hurry up. He finds Traore, and shot is blazed wide in the end by the inaccurate left boot of Hakim Ziyech.
I'm looking at the Schalke defenders there, two centre-backs, Alisson and Stachis. They're both having words with each other because they both let Bertrand Traore come off unopposed. I mean, Schöne was taking his time with the free kick, and he just looked up and ended up rolling the ball forward into the feet of Traore on the edge of the 18-yard box, and both centre-backs were stood 10 yards away from him. And he had a better touch and been a little bit more aware. He could have quite easily turned. He probably have got a shot away, but unfortunately for Ajax, he wasn't aware of his positioning.
Ball over the top towards Bergstaller. He was under big pressure from Sanchez. You can hear from the crowd, they're optimistically howling for a penalty. They're not going to get one, but it was a decent ball over the top, and Guido Bergstaller, the Austrian 27-year-old striker, was quickly onto it, but equally quick was Davinson Sanchez to cover. And it stays 0-0 as we approach the final minute of the opening half. Here's Kluivert coming forward for Ajax, all on his own at the moment, trying to run all the way through. But Benedict Halverdes uses all his experience to get across and cover and just push the ball forward for Schalke, who may have time to put together one more effort to get a goal before half-time. I don't think there's going to be too much added on by the officials. There certainly haven't been any injuries. Here's Caligiuri for Schalke, drifting infield, plays a long ball across towards the far side. It's a decent-looking cross. It's dealt with by De Ligt not once but twice. Did well, the defender there. There's an Schalke player rather, gone down injured on the edge of the 6-yard box, but play is continuing, and he's gone into the goal mouth, the player who was injured, to make sure he's not offside. The ball is with Bergstaller. In it comes. Caligiuri stretches but can't make contact, and Ajax managed to work the ball away with Younes on this near side. At least gets a pass he didn't want from Vergever, but reacted quickly enough to make sure he didn't lose possession. And
That is half-time. Virtually no time added on at all at the interval. So Schalke, who started the game very, very strongly and had two early opportunities to get themselves back into the tie, failed to take them, and Ajax have grown in stature and have managed the game pretty well overall. And it is they at the moment who look as if they're heading into the semi-finals, because they have that two-goal lead, of course, from the first leg, and that situation remains unaltered. The half-time score, with Andre Onana, the Ajax goalkeeper, still receiving treatment on the pitch while everyone else has gone off, is Schalke 0-4-0, Ajax 0. Anyway, the second half is underway at the Veltins Arena, with Schalke desperately needing to find a way through to try and save their season. Really, there's not a great deal else for them to play for other than the Europa League, and Ajax will hope, as I said, to get through the opening 10 minutes without conceding a goal, and if they do, then they will feel very confident. Remember, a draw or even a defeat by a single goal would send Ajax through, and a 2-0 win would take us into extra time. Ajax are on the front foot here with Justin Kluivert. Just plays it in towards Klaassen, who's unable to turn, but it's a free kick on the edge of the Schalke penalty area. Kluivert, I just can't every time I look at him I see his father. It's it's pretty obvious. I suppose they do look like each other, but it's like going back in time. It's like going back 22 years to 1995, when Patrick Kluivert, as an 18-year-old, scored the winner in the Champions League. Anyway, his son is won a free kick for Ajax in a really useful position. It's only about 6 or 7 yards outside the Schalke penalty area. It's in a pretty central position. Vergiva and Schöne have taken their places inside the wall. Onana, the goalkeeper for Ajax, who was receiving treatment incidentally, is okay for the second half. What can Ajax make of this free kick? Oh, it's a good save. It was struck pretty well by Lasse Schöne, and diving to his right-hand side, Ralph Farman was able to push it round the post. It was a low dipper in towards the near corner, and the goalkeeper at full stretch got strong hands on it to push it clear.
Yeah, you'd expect Farman to save that. Good technique from Schöne, getting the ball up and down so quickly, but it was pretty central. The big goalkeeper just palmed it away, but it's gone behind for a corner to Ajax.
Ziyech takes it. It's an out swinger, and Schöne hits it on the volley, and then a follow-up shot comes just over the bar. It's a terrific start to the second half from Ajax. I think it was Vergiva who got the final shot, which went over the crossbar after that effort from Schöne on the volley was blocked by a defender. Let me take you through the two teams as they line up. Schalke have Ralph Farman in goal, a back four of Sasha Rita, Benedikt Howardis, Mataja Nastasic and Sead Kolasinac. In front of them, Leon Goretzka, Nabil Bentaleb and Benjamin Stambouli. And then it's Max Meyer, Guido Bergstaller and Daniel Caligiuri. Ajax also in a 4-3-3 formation. Andre Onana is in goal. The back four is Joel Veltman, Davison Sanchez, Matthias de Ligt and Nick Vergiva. Then it's Hakim Ziyech, Lasse Schöne and Davy Klaassen. The two-goal hero from the first leg, Justin Kluivert, Bertrand Traore and Armin Younes are the front men for Ajax. We've had 3.5 minutes of the second half. Schalke have a free kick on this near side, midway inside the Ajax half. Max Meyer, the 21-year-old midfielder, curls the ball in. It's a big solid header away, but it comes out to Nabil Bentaleb. This is Benjamin Stambouli, another former Tottenham player in the Schalke ranks. Now Meyer just drifting infield. Toe pokes it back to Stambouli, who is very much an old school defensive midfield player. Gets it back to goalkeeper Farman, who's made that one save early in the second half. A goal to Ajax would surely kill the tie-off. We've talked about the possibility of Schalke getting themselves back into the game. Equally, I think if Ajax score at any point,
in this second half, it would be a mountain too high to scale for the German side.
Absolutely, and I think Ajax have got every capability of scoring tonight. They've shown in phases that are looking dangerous, with the likes of Traore, Kluivert, looking like they could potentially cause Schalke some problems.
They're coming forward now with Younes, who's been very, very good. It finds Traore, square ball by Klaassen. It's dealt with by Schalke. Meyer tries to bring the ball out of defence, does well to skip past a couple of challenges and finds a decent ball forward to Goretzka, but his ball is intercepted quite comfortably by Vergever and then tidied up by Schöne. Here's Klaassen, the bald-headed number 10, who got a double at the Amsterdam Arena, finding Younes to Traore. Traore's got Kluivert unmarked in a position on the right hand side. He's gone for goal himself. It took a slight deflection and it was a fairly comfortable save 5 minutes into the second half for goalkeeper Farman.
Yes, our man Younes again, who seems to have really good understanding with Bertrand Traore. He always looks for him first when he gets the ball to his feet. Maybe could have looked at Kluivert out wide, but the ball's going to Traore's feet. He's got his shot away. He's taking a deflection on the way through, and Farman gathers the ball at the second attempt. But you just see that whenever Schalke do give the ball away, Ajax is so quick in the transition. They get onto the front foot really well, and that's when they're looking most dangerous on the counter-attack.
Yeah, that's what they're doing now. Here's Ziyech, who pings it across to the near side. It's a lovely ball to Kluivert, who controls it instantly, tries to get past his man, and credit to the defender Kolasinac for sticking to his guns, sticking out of foot and getting the ball out of harm's way, as Justin Kluivert was looking to get down that flank, but they do have a corner kick, Ajax, as a reward for Kluivert's attempts to be creative. Lasse Schöne, his long hair tied back in a headband, will drive the set piece in. It's straight to the near post, where it's met by the first defender, Benedikt Hauerdes, who puts it behind for Schalke. Hauerdes, a one-club man, a World Cup winner, of course, not enjoying the best season of his career, it has to be said, with the way that Schalke have played thus far. It's going to be another corner to Ajax, their third in succession, as the ball was played in again to the near post and not behind. We're going to see a substitution in just a moment, and it was as we were predicting at half-time. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar is about to come on. Corner to Ajax is nodded away and hit by Kluivert from distance, but he's hit it straight into a blue-shirted defender, and suddenly Goretzka is on the counter-attack for Schalke. He finds Bergstaller, and back it goes to Goretzka! Scores! Well, that's changed the tide potentially. Schalke break through. 53 minutes gone, and it was a devastating counter-attack which was instigated and finished by Leon Goretzka, and that is just what the home fans wanted at the start of the second half. It's Schalke 1, Ajax 0.
That's a great counter-attacking goal. Goretzka dispossesses Kluivert almost on the edge of his own box, gives the ball to Bergstaller on the right-hand side, gets the return pass. He bursts into the 18-yard box, leaving the Ajax defenders trailing his wake, and he gets his shot away. It dips underneath Andre Onana into the back of the net, and is that the lifeline that Schalke have been looking for? Will that give them the confidence to go on and get back into this tie?
Should the keeper have done better there? He was diving down. It seemed to hit the underside of his right arm and bounce through.
He may have been unsighted, but potentially, yes, John, I think he may well be disappointed with that. As he said, he could have got a strong hand to it, but the ball's dipped under his body. The rest is history. Schalke 1-0 on the night, 2-1 in the tie.
It's potentially a huge goal. It's Goretzka's third goal in the Europa League this season. He scored in the group stage win against Salzburg, and he also netted in the 2-2 away draw at Borussia Mönchengladbach, which saw them go through on away goals. That substitution, incidentally, has now been made, and it's Stambouli who's come off to be replaced by Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, formerly of
PSV Eindhoven and of course Ajax, as well as Real Madrid and AC Milan, scorer of over 100 goals in the red and white of Ajax. He'll now be looking to try and get a goal which will draw Schalke level against his former club. He has only managed one goal in his last 9 games. That was in this competition against Schalke in the round of 32. Here's Meyer, brought crashing down by Veltman. Meyer has stayed down about 5 yards inside the Ajax half, but you're absolutely right. Psychologically, it will be interesting to see what kind of effect that goal has, because it potentially has turned the whole tie on its head, and Ajax, from a position of seeming comfort, are now just 1 goal away from seeing the tie levelled up on aggregate.
Be a real test for this young Ajax side now. How will they approach the rest of this game? They know they're through if they don't concede again, but it's going to be very, very difficult for them to rest in their laurels at a Schalke side whose tails are up.
Kolasinac with the ball in it, have equalised! It's the striker Guido Burgstaller who swept it into the net. The cross from the left-hand side by Sead Kolasinac, and Burgstaller, the Austrian, swept it home, and in the twinkling of an eye we now have parity in the tie, because Schalke have got 2 goals in around 4 minutes, and suddenly it is 2-0 to them tonight and 2-2 on aggregate.
It's that left back position again, John, isn't it? Veltman doesn't get anywhere near Kolasinac, who puts a great little ball into the box. They lose 2 or 3 Ajax defenders and comes to Burgstaller on the penalty spot, who keeps his head down, just hits the target. All he's got to do is hit the target and the ball ripples the back of the net. 2 goals in almost as many minutes has turned this tie completely on its head. And you have to say now, from this position, Schalke are looking favourites to progress, because the young Ajax team are absolutely rocking at the moment.
It's amazing how quickly things can change. Goals in the 52nd and 55th minute for Schalke. Ajax looking to get back in. Oh, they nearly did. Wonderful strike on the full by Hakim Ziyech, was pushed away by Ralph Farman, who makes his second important save of the second half. And suddenly, my goodness me, we've got a tie on our hands now, because Ajax almost got themselves back in front overall at 3-2. They have a corner here, which Ziyech will take, an outswinger, scramble in the box, but a foul spotted by the referee, and a free kick to Schalke, who, well, I think even their fans are rubbing their eyes a little bit. Those 2 very, very quick goals, one by Goretzka, the other by Burgstaller. They've got Huntelaar on the field as well, who may well come to haunt his former employers, as he gets a touch and wins a free kick inside the Ajax half. How do Ajax react, given that a lot of their players are relatively inexperienced?
Well, they'll be acutely aware, John, that 1 goal will see them through pretty much, because if Ajax do score, we can't have a tie.
No. Here's Caligiuri. Decent ball in. Onana plucks that one out of the air and looks to drive it forward very quickly up towards Traore. It's nodded away quite comfortably by Halverdes. And Schalke, from just a hopeless, not hopeless entirely, but fairly hopeless looking position at half time, is suddenly in the driver's seat. Here's Burgstaller looking to set one up now, and he plays it to the far post, and the effort by Caligiuri was unsuccessful to get the ball with any kind of touch, and in the end Meyer just dribbles it out of play behind. What an extraordinary start to the second half. We're 13 minutes in, we've had 2 Schalke goals, and at the other end we've had 2 good saves from their goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think huge responsibility now on the likes of Lasse Schöne in the Ajax team to try and get his young players to calm down a little bit. They're getting pulled all over the place, they're getting run ragged at the back. Just need to take stock and reevaluate, and they were relatively comfortable in the second part of the first half, and they started really well in the second, but Schalke have just blitzed them with 2 goals in 5 minutes. And as it stands at the moment, Schalke are looking the most likely to score again, because Ajax just cannot deal with them going forward.
Bergstaller has now scored in all three of the knockout stages of this competition. He got a goal in the 3-0 win against PAOK in the round of 32, and he was the scorer in the 1-1 draw here against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Ended up 3-3 on aggregate with away goals taking Schalke through. This will be some comeback if they can complete it. We've had just short of an hour, so there's plenty of time for Schalke to get the victory they need. You can hear the fans in the background. The flags are waving amongst the most vociferous section of the crowd, and the referee is going to finally brandish a yellow card. He's shown it to Bergstaller, scorer of Schalke's second goal. He's not one of the players who is under threat of suspension. Bergstaller, well, he just threw the ball to the ground. A silly piece of dissent, really, in a fairly nothing sort of situation. Has picked up a yellow card for him, but more significantly, his name is in the referee's book as a goal scorer as well. And at the moment, we could be heading for extra time if there isn't another goal in this tie, but you just sense that the goal scoring hasn't ended there, I don't think.
No, I've seen enough so far to suggest that either team is capable of scoring again. It'd be really interesting to see which way that goal will go.
Yeah, another goal would nullify the possibility of extra time, and I think the players will feel, God forbid, penalties. Here's Traore for Ajax, finding Schöne. Back to Traore again, but Schöne's been penalised. Bit of a puzzling decision that by the referee. Just seemed to toe poke the ball through to Traore. Certainly Peter Bosz, the 53-year-old coach for Ajax, who replaced Frank de Boer, who moved on to Inter in the summer. We've got a substitution for Ajax now. Justin Kluivert has gone off, and Kasper Dolberg, prolific 19-year-old Dane, has come on. He's got 18 goals in his 35 games this season, and he's been a regular goal scorer in this competition. As the shot, a rather hopeful, speculative one from Benedict Howardis, who is by no means a goal scorer, flies a long way wide. Dolberg is a Danish international, made his debut against Kazakhstan in November at the age of 19. He's got 5 goals in his last 4 games and 4 this season in the Europa League, so he's a useful player to bring on for Ajax. It's a fairly straight swap with Justin Kluivert, son of Patrick, who couldn't emulate his dad with a goal in his teenage years in Europe, but might well do so in the next year or so to come, or maybe longer than that. He's only 17. Dolberg's 19. Besiktas 2, Lyon 1 in Istanbul. So that one could be heading for extra time as well. Conceição has got his second goal as the header flashes wide from Benedict Howardis from the ball in from the right hand side by Schalke. It was a free kick delivered by Meyer. Howardis was given too much space there, wasn't it? And he's flicked his head at the wrong side.
Great opportunity, good ball in from Meyer, but Howardis has found himself unmarked on the penalty spot. He just tried to put too much power on the header almost. You can see him really flex his neck to try and get that ball on target. Just drags it wide of the far post, but a glorious opportunity for the big centre-back.
Yeah, he's only scored 1 goal this season. It was in this competition against Salzburg in the group. They won that one 3-1. It's 2-0 to Schalke here, but of course level on aggregate. Here's Veltman. It's not a particularly good cross for Ajax, but it might be salvaged on the far side by Younes, but it was just clipped away from him by Sasha Rita, the veteran. Right back for Schalke, who's double the age of a couple of his young opponents today. Here's Younes. That's a nice touch, but Ajax work it back to Davy Klaassen, who's seen his double goal salvo in the Amsterdam Arena now wiped out. Pushes it down the line towards Younes, who's onside, looking to take on Rita. It's a great run by Younes, covered by Howardis though. And Ajax turn to enjoy a little spell of pressure. De Ligt finds Viergever. Viergever sweeps it into the box. Attempt by Traore to smash it first time on the turn, but he got it all wrong and it came off his left foot and ended up about halfway back in the stand behind the goal of Ralph Farman.
It wasn't his finest attempt from Bertrand Traore. You can see what he's trying to do. He's just trying to use the pace of the ball into him and side foot that ball on target, but he's got it horribly wrong, leaning back, and ball came down with snow on it. But it's the first opportunity Ajax have had to foray into the Schalke half, really, since they've conceded those 2 goals in quick succession.
Still Manchester United 1, Anderlecht 1 at Old Trafford. As it stands, 3 of the 4 ties in this competition could be headed for extra time. Early days though. Here's Bergstaller. Cover was by Sanchez to get the ball away for a throw in 10 yards from the corner flag on the far side. Bergstaller takes it himself. The ball is worked across midfield towards Bentaleb, who just turns away and plays the ball square across to Nastasic, who plays a rather poor ball into the edge of the box, which is easily defended. Nastasic will pick it up again. The former Manchester City player from Serbia launches it forward once more. Some of the home fans wanted a foul there against Elish, who did seem to be pulling back a little bit on Huntelaar. But it's only a throw-in to the home side. It's going to be taken by Sead Kolasinac. Played under 20 football for Germany, but is now committed to Bosnia. Cleared by Onana, up towards halfway. Back it comes from De Ligt, who finds the substitute who's just come on, Dolberg. Dolberg plays it out wide. It's a good ball forward. The goalkeeper comes a long way and doesn't quite get there. It's toe poke past him, but not into a harmless position. I think it was Younes running onto it, and Farman came out very decisively and early and managed to put him off enough. Here's Traore though for Ajax, finding Ziyech. His shot is blocked. It comes out to Klaassen. Now Vergiva over to Younes on the far side. The little diminutive number 11 who's a box of tricks tries to get through. It's going to be a corner to Ajax. The ball just creeping across the goal line. Sasha Reither's claiming that it's a throw in, but I'm pretty sure that ball crossed the goal line.
It's pretty glaring obvious to everyone apart from Sasha Reither, I think, who was chancing his arm there. You can see the ball has just about gone out actually for a corner.
It went out, but
kind of a disservice there. Well, it wasn't.
No, it is a corner,
as obvious as we thought, perhaps, but
it's going to be an outswinger by Ziyech. Big moment this potentially. Good header away though by Goretzka. Here's De Ligt. Back it comes from Ajax over towards the edge of the box. It's headed out only as fine as Ziyech again, who's got a good left foot, but his cross is deflected and then it's hooked away high by Schalke. Forward it comes again. Flying header away by Benedict Howardez towards Bergstaller. Can't find Huntelaar with the headed pass. Instead it's come to Ziyech on the far side for Ajax, trying to release Kasper Dolborg, who arrived from Silkeborg in Denmark, another of the scorers in that handsome 5-1 win against Heerenveen at the weekend to maintain his excellent goal-scoring run, although it has been punctuated with a little injury which kept him out for the handful of games prior to that one. Here's Traore. He's been pulled back deliberately there, and it's going to be a yellow card, I suspect, for Sead Kolasinac, the Schalke left fullback. Fairly cynical piece of play by him, which probably warranted a card. He just pulled Traore off the ball once he'd got past him. It's a free kick to Ajax, exactly midway point in the second half. 2-0 to Schalke with that double strike inside a couple of minutes early in this half. Lasse Schöne will deliver for Ajax. There are plenty of their players forward hoping to get a touch. Big Sanchez, the defender, is one of them. It's nodded away quite comfortably though. Back to Schöne, who just ducks his head and steers the ball back to Ziyech, who pings it forward. It's a useful looking cross, but Howardez again is there to clear. Then Sasha Reither does likewise. Ajax on the back foot now as Huntelaar crosses towards Bergstaller, who tussles with Veltman. It's going to be a throw in far side inside the Ajax half for Schalke. Well, could this be a season revitalising night for the team from Gelsenkirchen, lying a lowly 11th in the 18-team Bundesliga. Here's Bergstaller, far side, looks to find space for a cross. Crosses with his left foot, headed away by Sanchez. Picked up in midfield by Nabil Bentaleb, who plays a lovely ball across to the recently booked Kolasinac. This is Meyer trying to get towards the byline. He's done that. Veltman, I think, will shepherd it out, and it's going to be a goal kick to Ajax, who started off this season, of course, in the Champions League, but lost to Rostov heavily 5-2 in a playoff. It didn't suggest at that time, back in the summer, that they were going to have a particularly successful stint in Europe, but they dropped into the Europa League and topped their group unbeaten in 6 games above Celta Vigo, who of course are still in the competition. Standard Liège and Panathinaikos. Celta Vigo, talking of them, have gone ahead against Genk, but I think Genk may have equalised. It's 1 apiece there now, and that means that Celta Vigo are still in front in that tie. Here it's 2-0 to Schalke, which is stalemate in terms of the tie. Lovely ball down the line by Goretzka. Here's the early cross. It's flicked away by Delish. Confirmation that Genk have equalised. Trossard getting the goal just 4 minutes after Sisto had put Celta Vigo ahead. That's 4-3 to Celta Vigo on aggregate. As it stands, all of the other games are of scorelines that replicate the first leg, which means that all of them, Manchester United, Anderlecht, Besiktas, Lyon and this one, could be headed for extra time and possibly penalties. Could be a long old night in the Europa League, but we'll stay with it, of course, if it does go all the way. Ajax have won the ball in midfield, but not legally, and Veltman has picked up a yellow card as a result of that, and they're beginning to come out now, the yellow cards from a referee who had a very, very quiet opening half. He's booked Veltman and Kolasinac in the last few minutes to add to Bergstaller, who was yellow carded earlier for Schalke. Schalke have a free kick, which Max Meyer, their young creative midfield player, will try and conjure a bit of magic with. Hit the post in the first half. He thought then that maybe Schalke's chance had gone. Meyer's free kick. Howarders is up with the header back into the box. I think he was offside, Benedict Howarders. The flag's gone up far side, and he was miles offside. The German World Cup winner just nodded it back into a danger area, but the official far side had a pretty easy job there. 18 minutes to go in the Veltins Arena. Who will be in the draw tomorrow at around lunchtime to sort out who will play who in the semi-finals? At the moment it is far from clear. At the moment, as it stands, only Celta Vigo have an advantage in any of the 4 quarter-finals. Free kick to Schalke. Nabil Bentaleb to clip it forward with his left foot. It's knocked into the middle towards Huntelaar. It was just behind the former Ajax man as it was scraped away by Sanchez. Back in it comes towards Guido Bergstaller, who's unable to control the ball on the far side. Who would your money be on, Reece, if you were a gambling man in these last 17 minutes as Ajax prepared to make a substitution with Schöne coming off to be replaced by Donny van der Beek?
Well, my instinct would say that Schalke would be favourites, but you know, as time ticks on, will the pressure get to them? Will the home fans get a little bit restless? They'll be delighted that the team are back on terms in the tie. I just feel that Ajax may have that little bit of energy left to maybe go up the other end and steal what would surely be a decisive goal, but it's beautifully poised for the last 17 minutes or so, isn't it?
Yep, certainly is. Donny van der Beek has come on, another of the youngsters, 20. Started the first leg in Amsterdam, but of course made way tonight because of the more experienced Lasse Schöne becoming available after missing that game through suspension. But Schöne has been replaced by van der Beek now. Scored in the Europa League last season. Van der Beek in the draw with Mulder. That was his last goal, actually, 28 games ago. Free kick to Ajax just inside the Dutch side's half. It's going to be taken by De Ligt, who knocks it away centrally towards Dolberg. Good play by the Danish international, who flicks it out wide towards Younes. Younes trying to find a way through, and Rita once again has clipped it away, but once again for a corner. So with just over 15 minutes left, Ajax have the opportunity to regain the lead, which has snatched away from them in a 3-minute spell in this half. Ziyech once again will take the out-swinging corner. It's met by Sanchez, who hoofs it up in the air, headed clear by Rita. Then a rather poor header by Schalke, but it ends up in the gloves of Farman, who knocks it long upfield. Here's Goretzka just nodding it forward, but there was no one there. I don't think he had a look before he played that header, and was just rather hoping that someone would be in the right position. At the other end, it's Nick Viergever for Ajax, the 1992 winners of this competition against the 1997 winners, and nothing between them at the moment. Here's Sanchez crossing halfway for Ajax and finding Veltman. Traore's just made a little run infield, but Veltman's given it away. And there's a break on here with Maya down the left-hand side for the German side. Plays a cross-field ball. It's headed back only as far as Huntelaar, who turns and tries to lay it off for Bergstaller, who was just on the wrong wavelength and made his run a little bit too early. And as a result, Ajax are able to bring it away. The substitute Van der Beek gets his first touch, and once again it's Younes, but that's a good tackle to win the ball back for Schalke. 14 minutes left to see whether we can get a winner before the need for extra time. There's an Ajax player down injured, and I think Schalke, well, they're just going to play on because the referee hasn't signalled for them to stop. They're perfectly within their rights to do so. Here's Bergstaller, and it's a throw-in on the far side, and finally maybe the injured Ajax player can just get a little bit of treatment. There's no reason for Schalke to stop, because it's the referee who has the final say on whether a player merits attention or not, unless of course it's a head injury, which it wasn't. It's Armin Younes who's gone down injured, and well, nerves are beginning to jangle, I think it's fair to say, inside the Veltins arena, with both sides sensing that maybe one goal will be enough. Still Manchester United 1, Anderlecht 1. That's heading for extra time with 74 minutes played at Old Trafford. Besiktas 2, Lyon 1 in Istanbul. That's heading for extra time as well. Genk 1, Celta Vigo 1. The Spanish side have the upper hand there. Here's Huntelaar for Schalke. It's in central midfield now with Nabil Bentaleb. That's a clever thought and a well-intentioned ball, but one which was struck with too much pace. It was speared in towards Sead Kolasinac, but the left fullback wasn't quick enough to get to it. Ajax have it on the far side with De Ligt. Here's Klaassen, and now Sanchez just outside his own penalty area, driving forward with time ticking down. That's a poor ball by Traore, though. He's given it away to Maya, and through it goes all the way back to Ralph Farman. I tell you what, if Schalke get through to the semi-final, Ralph Farman will be the undoubted hero of the tie for their magnificent display in Amsterdam, and he's made a couple of decent saves tonight as well. Viergever forward for Ajax towards Dolberg, who's muscled off the ball. That's good play by Bentaleb. And now Schalke play a lovely ball out wide. There are blue shirts streaming forward. Huntelaar's there, Bergstaller's there, but the red-shirted Andre Onana was there too, just to pick up the cross by Bentaleb, and suddenly
We have Ajax herring forward. That's clever play by Traore to get round his man. Still has it. Bertrand Traore into Dolberg. Tries to lay it off, but it's repelled by Schalke, and it's picked up by Daniel Caliguri, the German of Italian descent, and it's a free kick inside the Ajax half to Schalke, which Caliguri takes quickly and finds Meyer. Meyer just trying to hold off a couple of challenges as he gets it back to Howardez, who plays a long ball out wide to Kolasinac, whose back heel finds Bentaleb. Bentaleb's, well, he thought he was blocked on the way through. The referee has given a free kick, and there could be trouble here. Let's have a look. It was Veltman, and he's already been booked. And you're right, Reese, he will go. Well, 2 yellow cards for Joel Veltman mean that Ajax must play the remainder of this game with 10 men. Veltman is vehemently protesting his innocence to the referee, Ovidio Hatigan, but well, it was a cynical block on Bentaleb. And what do you think? Yellow card or not?
He's been given 2 very soft yellow cards. I have to say, he was booked initially for a challenge on Max Meyer, and Meyer went down very easily under the challenge of Veltman, and he just stood his ground there. What's worked against him though, he had a little look, didn't he, beforehand when Bentaleb went for the give and go. He just checked his run and stood in Bentaleb's way. It's not a yellow card, John, for me. It's unfortunately that's the way the game is going at the moment. Anything that's deemed to be cynical or intentional is automatically a booking, and you don't want to see players sent off. You want to see games as competitive as possible, but unfortunately for Ajax, they're now down to 10 men, and that's another momentum shift in the favour of Schalke.
It certainly is. So Veltman's played his last part. They're going to bring on Kenny Tete, a defender, in just a moment, but the free kick is played in by Schalke. There's an attempt at full stretch to try and get a goal from Matej Nastasic, of all people, who's only ever scored 3 goals in his career. He's not managed any for Schalke, but he was up there then, got a foot on it, but he's put it quite a long way wide. We're inside the last 10 minutes of normal time, and we are heading for extra time at the Veltins Arena. Still United 1, Anderlecht 1 at Old Trafford. Still Besiktas 2, Lyon 1, and still Genk 1, Celta Vigo 1. Kenny Tete, a 20-year-old right back, is coming on, and he's replaced Bertrand Traore with a defender having been sent off for Ajax. That makes sense, doesn't it, as a substitution? I don't think he's being negative there. He's just filling in for Veltman and withdrawing a more attacking player.
Yeah, it's a sensible play. At this point in time, the best Ajax can hope for is extra time and penalties, because they're looking very leggy. They're a man down with 9 minutes plus stoppage time to play.
Well, we're going to have another withdrawal here, because one of the Schalke players is down, and the signal from the physio appeared to be that they would need to make a change as well. So we've got a gap in proceedings here, with the tie poised at 2-0 to Schalke, as it was to Ajax in the first leg. Thankfully the stretcher has been sent away, but Schalke are going to be forced into a substitution in just a moment. We're just seeing replays of the 2 goals. The first, a lovely breakaway with Goretzka initiating it and then finishing after receiving a pass from Bergstaller, who then swept in beautifully from the left flank cross, and that was 2-2. There have been a few chances at either end since then, but nothing too clear cut. The man going off is Goretzka, who got that goal that pulled Schalke back into the tie, and he's been replaced by Johannes Geiss, who is a defensive midfield player formerly of Mainz, and he's got 7 minutes, well, potentially 37 minutes at the moment, with extra time looming. Ball flicked forward.
towards Bergstaller. Bergstaller changes direction. He's got Meyer to his left-hand side, and he'd have done better to have found him than try and go through himself. He run into trouble, and Sanchez will get the ball away for Ajax, but it's a poor, rather tired ball upfield by the Colombian defender, and it's gone straight out of play. We've got 6 minutes of normal time left. Ajax down to 10 men, clinging on as Schalke look to complete what most people this morning saw as an unlikely comeback.
And you and I both thought that as well at the start of the game, John, didn't we?
No doubt.
They played well, Schalke. They started really well. They had a little blip in the middle of the first half, but they've been much the better side. They're totally deserving of their 2-goal advantage on the night.
Here's Huntelaar. The ball is knocked in from the right-hand side. It's repelled by Ajax. Howardez collects it, still inside the Ajax half, and finds the substitute Geis, who's just come on. He finds Bentaleb, finding Caligiuri. Schalke have got the ball to themselves at the moment, with obviously a little more space to manoeuvre in now that Veltman's been sent off. Veltman, of course, would miss the first leg of the semi-final should Ajax prevail. Just over 5 minutes to go. Here's Geis playing a long ball across to Kolasinac, who gets his cross in. It's rather overhit.
It was a good ball in by Kolasinac, actually. He had a really good opportunity, good first touch. He looked up and he whips a great ball in. I think it was Klaus-Jan Huntelaar that had gone a little bit too early. Had there been a man coming in at the back post, we've had a free attempt on goal, but he's done well all night, Kolasinac, down that left-hand side. He's put a lot of good balls into the box, and an assist to his name as well.
Here's Dolberg coming forward for Ajax. He's won a free kick, which is probably the best he could do because he had no support there, and a yellow card is being brandished to Nastasic. So the referee reaches in his pocket, and Matej Nastasic will not play in the first leg of the semi-final should Schalke get there, because that's his second yellow card in the competition. Or was it Howardez? I thought it was Nastasic at first, but maybe it's Howardez who's been booked. So perhaps I'm being a little hasty regarding Nastasic. It is Howardez, apologies. Confirmation of that, and he's not a player on a yellow, so that's a relief. But oh, hang on, now we're getting a graphic telling us that it's Nastasic. I thought I was right, but they've come up with Nastasic and Howardez on our monitor. Howardez on, unless they've both been booked. But it does appear that Nastasic, as I first thought, has been yellow carded, in which case he'll miss the first leg of the semi. We're by no means guaranteed that Schalke will be there. And it's a free kick on the near side to Ajax for a foul by Kolasinac. This could be useful for Ajax. We've got just over 3 minutes of normal time left. One apiece still at Old Trafford. Henrik Mkhitaryan's goal cancelled out by Sofiane Hani in the first half. There have been no goals there in the second half so far, so United could be headed for a nervous finale as well. Certainly got a nervous finale here, but Hakim Ziyech is standing over the ball for Ajax, looking to deliver with his left foot. It's a scramble inside the box. It's only half cleared. Sanchez almost got a touch. It's come out to Viergiva. He's lost possession though, and it's knocked all the way back to Andre Onana. There was just a little bit of panic there inside the Schalke box as the ball dropped, and none of the defenders really quite knew where it was. Sanchez got a touch, but not a decisive one, and in the end it was scrambled away.
A great ball in by Ziyech, wasn't it? Really pacey, flat delivery, and Ajax throwing their bodies at it. Found its way through to Davinson Sanchez. It was more of a tackle than a shot. Schalke managed to avert the danger.
2 minutes away from extra time, unless we have last gasp drama as the blue and white scarves dominate the stand at the end that Schalke are attacking to our left. Here's Benedict Howardez just pushing it forward to the substitute Geis. Shepherded back to his goalkeeper though by Sanchez, with Geis's through ball inaccurate. That's a better header from him, and there's a foul there by Vergever on Caligiuri, which might invite more pressure on the 10-man of Ajax, who, since Veltman went off with 10 minutes to go, have coped fairly well, but it looks as if they're going to struggle through an entire half hour of extra time with the numerical disadvantage, of course. We're in the final minute, and Schalke have a free kick in a useful position midway inside the Ajax half. Geis drives it in, up goes Huntelaar, can only direct his header away from goal rather than towards it, and Davinson Sanchez tries to get it clear but then gives it away. Here's Bentaleb, who does likewise but then wins it back for Schalke, camped in the final third at the moment as Bentaleb plays the ball across square towards Rita. Oh, that's a dangerous looking tackle there, and there could be trouble here. And well, it's Vergever who's going to get a yellow card. There was a bit of a flare-up there too between him and Caligiuri. Caligiuri is just being pulled away from Vergever, and Vergever is another who was on a yellow card. So if Ajax go through, he won't play. And well, he's not. That's a sort of borderline red. That
he
one,
slipped,
isn't
I
it?
think, John.
Maybe he slipped.
I think he was trying to put the brakes on a little bit, and his feet went from underneath him, and it looked, for all intents and purposes, like a two-footed challenge. I think that's what he was complaining about. But from the referee's perspective and the referee's assistant's perspective, it looked like a two-footed challenge. And if that's what they've seen, they've booked him for it. He could well have received a straight red card for that.
Well, he will get a suspension anyway with those totting up of yellows. Geis has a free kick for Schalke. We're into 4 minutes of stoppage time. Oof, the header is over the top by Daniel Caligiuri, and I think Huntelaar behind him might have been in a better position to meet the cross. As it is, Caligiuri took responsibility and has put it over the top. It was an anxious moment for the Ajax supporters. I wonder whether the two goalkeepers, Onana and Farman, have already started thinking about potential penalty kicks.
It's quite possible.
I think Ajax would take penalties, wouldn't they, with a numerical disadvantage, with Veltman having been sent off. They've still got to negotiate another 3 minutes of stoppage time. No change in the results elsewhere. So it looks like 3 of the quarter-finals are going to the extra period, with only Celta Vigo finishing the job off with 180 minutes of football. Here's Bentaleb inside the centre circle, exchanges passes with Geis, who gets it back and plays it out wide to Caligiuri. Caligiuri has found Bergstaller, who's driving forward, but his path towards the penalty area is blocked by Vergever, who puts the ball out of play. It's all Schalke in the dying embers of the final 90, but stay with us because it looks to me as if extra time is on its way. It's a poor ball through the inside left channel by Schalke, which once again Sead Kolasinac is not able to get on the end of. We're midway through the 4 minutes that have been added on. The flags are still waving at the far end that Schalke are attacking. Ajax, I think, will be looking forward to hearing the whistle and just regrouping before the extra time period begins. We will have a bit of a gap, of course, for the two coaches to come on and have their say. It may not be necessary yet, though, because Huntelaar is coming forward menacingly, but Kenny Tete, one of the Ajax substitutes, and they have used all 3, gets the ball away. That could be a factor as well. If they get any injuries or anyone else is sent off, then they would be down to 9. Schalke still have one switch up their sleeve. Here's Klaassen, just managing to scrape it away, but it's come out to Geis. It's just a touch back by him. This is Nastasic, bang on halfway. We're in the last minute of the added on period. 2-0 to Ajax in Amsterdam, 2-0 to Schalke in Gelsenkirchen, adds up to extra time unless Schalke can do something here. They almost did. The goalkeeper got hold of the ball eventually. It was fired in by Howardez, and for a moment it looked like
Onana had dropped it, but he gathered it at the feet of Huntelaar, and that might just be the last chance. My goodness me, how close were Schalke there. The shot blocked by the keeper, he lost sight of the ball. Huntelaar was alive to it, and Onana, to the huge relief of the Ajax faithful, just about managed to clutch the ball to his chest. And at the other end there's an offside flag against Ziyech. We're up to 4 minutes having been played. Another yellow card is being brandished. Might have been Ziyech who got it. We'll get confirmation of that in just a moment. We're over the 4 minutes added on, and Ziyech does get booked, and the whistle blows. So we have extra time in Gelsenkirchen, a 2-goal salvo at the start of the second half by the home side. Leon Goretzka halving the arrears overall with a goal from a counter-attack, and that was followed very quickly by Guido Burgstaller, who swept in across from the left by Sead Kolasinac, and neither side could produce a goal after that. Joel Veltman was sent off for 2 yellow cards in quick succession for Ajax, so they will have to get through extra time with 10 men. Stay with us for the whole of the extra time period. It's Schalke 2, Ajax 0, and we go to an added 30 minutes. Thanks very much indeed, Dan. 10 o'clock at night in Gelsenkirchen in Germany, and both sides still dreaming of a place in the semi-finals of the Europa League. Schalke getting the result they needed to take us into this added period with those 2 goals early in the first half, and of course they do have the very real advantage of being up against 10 men, with Joel Veltman sent off for 2 yellow cards in quick succession. We're back underway in a terrific atmosphere in this 62,000 capacity stadium. You would think that Schalke, not just given the fact that they have a numerical advantage player-wise, but just the way they finished the second half, Reece, your money I think would probably be on them to go through.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, John. I think the young Ajax side look a bit leggy now. They look a bit dejected, being so comfortable with that 2-goal cushion. He pegged back so quickly.
Ball played long and early in towards Huntelaar, who gets a shot away, but it's not with any great fizz or venom. In fact, it was Burgstaller, not Huntelaar, who drove it, but it was straight at the goalkeeper Onana. Ajax have used all 3 of their substitutes. Tete, Van Beek and Dolberg are all on. Schalke have introduced Huntelaar and Geis, but they do have 1 more up their sleeve. You're listening to Schalke against Ajax in the Europa League, live on TalkSport 2 with Selco Builders Warehouse. Great trade prices, could be closer than you think. Find your nearest store at selcobw.com. 1.5 minutes of the first period of extra time have elapsed. Ajax attacking the goal where most of the most fervent Schalke fans are situated, and the cross from the right hand side is a harmless one, which is just knocked away by the 34-year-old Sasha Rita, and it's a throw in to Ajax. Klaassen takes it and then instantly receives it back. There's no way through at the moment for them. He's found Armin Younes, who's been lively throughout the tie. It's clipped off his toes, and well, it must have brushed one of his toes on the way through, because the referee has awarded a throw in to Schalke. Davy Klaassen getting both goals in the opening leg in Amsterdam. It could have been more but for Ralph Farman, but Ajax have seen that lead wiped out. They're on the attack here though, the 10 men, and it's clipped away from the edge of the box up towards Huntelaar, whose touch isn't very good. It squirts away towards Armin Younes. Positive start by Ajax to this second period. Shot comes in from Hakim Ziyech, drops for Tete, one of the 3 substitutes who was brought on immediately. The Joel Veltman was sent off, a fullback for a fullback with a little bit of reorganisation. No Bertrand Traore, he was sacrificed to allow Tete to come on.
Still Manchester United 1, Anderlecht 1, and Besiktas 2, Lyon 1. Amazingly, 3 of the 4 ties tonight have all gone to extra time. Celta Vigo are the only side through definitely to tomorrow's draw for the semi-finals. They drew 1-1 in Belgium against Genk, which was enough for a 4-3 aggregate win for the Galician side. Here's Ajax with a throw-in midway inside the Schalke half. They've been positive in the opening period. Dolberg, though, has managed to give the ball away. It's come quickly back, though, to Davison Sanchez. The South American prods it back to Nick Viergever, who was one of the players who was booked late in the 90 minutes, ruling him out of the semi-final first leg if they get there. Matej Nastasic of Schalke will suffer a similar fate. Here's Van Beek trying to get it down the line towards Ziyech, but it's gone harmlessly out. Extra time is a strange period, isn't it? Because teams begin to get nervy, edgy, and sometimes they're not quite as entertaining and gripping as you hope, because both sides become obsessed with them not making errors. Is that your experience of it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about, you don't want to be that player that lets the ball slip under his foot or loses his man from a set play and cost your team the tie, but also a lot of players will be a little bit shifty about going to penalties. I remember playing in a playoff game years ago against Stoke. I was looking around my teammates thinking who's going to take a penalty, and next thing you know, Stoke scored and we were out. So you switch off and all of a sudden it can be very, very costly.
Yeah, it's very, very tense. Schalke have got the ball inside the Ajax half, but only just inside it at the moment. Geis just steers it forward. Ajax began on the front foot in this opening period of extra time, which is now a third of the way through with 5 minutes gone, and it is pretty cagey at the moment. Ajax have got every man back behind the ball as Schalke just knock it around, but without any great purpose at the moment. Bentaleb, though, plays a good ball down the flank. It's crossed in, the cross is deflected, and it's flicked away by Deleuze out to the far side. It's bounced once and gone out into touch by the corner flag. Throw-in is going to be taken by Kolasinac, who has been a good source of attacking impetus, overlapping down that left-hand side, the left full-back. Nastasic forward. It's another decent-looking ball, and a covering challenge by Tete means that Ajax have conceded a corner kick as he went through and denied Kolasinac the opportunity to cross. Kolasinac might have just picked up a little groin injury there, but it's a corner kick to Schalke with 6 minutes of extra time having been played. Jonathan Geis, one of the substitutes, will swirl it in with his right foot. Most of the blue-shirted players are on the edge of the penalty area. There's only one inside the 6-yard box, 2 now, with Bergstaller also getting forward. So it looks as if one of the blue shirts is going to try and maybe run onto this delivery by Geis if he can get it right. Concentration from the substitute as he swirls it in. It's very deep. It's knocked back across the edge of the area and then smashed away by Ziyech. Back it comes from Rita for Schalke, and then it's unfortunately for them headed straight out of play by Nabil Bentaleb, the former Tottenham player, an Algerian international who played in the African Cup of Nations in the early part of this year. We're almost up to the halfway mark already in the opening period without either side really having fashioned a worthwhile chance. Caligiuri might hear, but that's good backtracking by Viergever to make sure he didn't have a chance. Now it's Armin Younes, clever little nutmeg on Geis, and on he goes, finds Ziyech. Ziyech tries to pirouette his way around Kolasinac, but it was Kolasinac's defensive partner Howardez who stepped in to clear the ball. Still 2-2 on aggregate. Still Manchester United 1, Anderlecht 1. Still Besiktas 2, Lyon 1. We were talking throughout the second half of matches heading towards extra time. We could soon be talking about matches heading towards penalty shootouts, which will almost certainly test the nerves of all the participants, even more so than extra time. Here's Rita getting it forward for Schalke. Still plenty of time for them to win it in normal extra time. Of course, Huntelaar, good ball forward. Maya onto his right foot, flicks it over the defender, but couldn't get the contact for the shot on goal. It was cleverly done by him initially to lift it over the head of the defender, but it was too high for him to hook goalwards. Here's Rita, just rolls it back to Caligiuri. Caligiuri to Geis. Geis shoots! Not far away. Just whizzed over the top of the crossbar. Worth a try from the defender about 20 yards out. Hit it cleanly with his right foot, picking it up after just one touch to steady himself. I think the goalkeeper was pretty comfortable though, and knew it was always too high.
Well, it was a great strike from Geis. He's been really impressive since he's come on, actually. He's been involved in all the set plays that Schalke have had, and that's not too far away. That ball is... He's hit it in such a way that there's no real movement on it, and it's swirling around a little bit. And I think Onana actually got a fingertip to it and just tipped that over the bar. It was dipping right at the last minute. It just grazed the top of the net. A lot closer than it looked in real time.
Yeah, you're right about Johannes Geis. He's come onto the field of play and got instantly involved in just about everything. Here comes Schalke again. Bergstaller just cushioning his ball in towards Maya with a little step over, but his cross was too close to Andre Onana, who dived out and managed to claim the ball. He's now an international player, the 21-year-old goalkeeper, having made his debut for Cameroon in September. He's just cleared the ball virtually from off his goal line there, up towards halfway. Bentaleb picks it up for Schalke and finds Geis again. Bentaleb once more clips it over towards the far side where it's controlled by Kolasinac. Bentaleb for a third time. This time it's a square ball across the halfway line towards Geis, who finds Holidays. We've had 100 minutes in Gelsenkirchen and still nothing to separate these two teams. Ditto in Istanbul, ditto in Manchester. Schalke have had all the play in the last 5 minutes or so. Here's Bergstaller. There's an overlap here and a chance for them. The ball clicked in and headed in. Caligiuri has completed an amazing comeback for Schalke. Once again, it was the overlapping fullback Sead Kolasinac who got the ball in, and it was firmly headed into the net by Daniel Caligiuri, and Schalke lead 3-0 on the night and 3-2 on aggregate. 100 minutes played.
Well, it's been coming, and that man Kolasinac again down the left-hand side for Schalke. He's been tirelessly running up and down all evening, and this time he finds a bit of quality from nothing really, stands the ball up. It's a great header, you have to say. He comes in late. It's Caligiuri, who's had a relatively quiet evening, hasn't really been involved too much at all, but he climbs over the top of the Ajax left-back Vergiva and past the despairing Onana into the back of the net. A fantastic performance from Schalke to come from 2 goals down to now being a goal to the good, 3-0 on the night. I'm not sure Ajax have got anything left in the locker to try and get something back now.
Well, it's an incredible turnaround by Schalke. Caligiuri, you're right, it was a really good header. He steered it deliberately beyond the goalkeeper. The cross evaded the Ajax defenders, but Caligiuri was well placed. He was about 8 yards out, and it was beautifully planted beyond the outstretched hand of Andre Onana. And Ajax, who came here tonight looking to preserve a 2-0 lead, now find themselves desperately trying with 10 men to get a goal, which of course would win the tie for them on away goals. So they only need one, despite the fact that they're 3-0 down. But Peter Bosz and his young team will face an enormous examination of just how mature they are and how good they are. Ziyech with the free kick, well claimed by the giant figure of Ralph Farman. It was interesting actually, wasn't it, when the goal went in, that half of the Schalke team went across to celebrate with Caligiuri and the rest went across to Kolasinac, because I think he's had a terrific impact right from the start down that left-hand side. Every time he's overlapped, there's been some kind of danger, and the quality of his delivery has been very good.
Yeah, he's got 2 assists for his troubles as well. He's been running up and down that left-hand side all evening.
Yep. He's arguably the game's standout player. Now then, we've got a nasty-looking challenge there on Bentaleb. It was committed by Donny van der Beek, and well, again, he was off the ground. You know, you've seen those red card. I don't think he's even got a yellow.
That's a bad challenge.
It is. He's come flying in, and the studs were raised. He's gone through, and the referee, he's given a free kick, but nothing else, which surprises me. It was worth at least a yellow card. And as I said before, I've seen those result in sendings off. We're just watching a replay of the goal. It was really well worked down the left-hand side. Lovely little chip cross. But I suppose you'd expect the two defenders between them, De Ligt and Vergever, to do better, because Caligiuri's not the tallest, and he got in between them.
You look at Vergever's body position, he has no idea where the man is behind him. And Caligiuri's just come in unannounced. Vergever's square on, he can't see, he got no idea where the runner's coming from. And De Ligt is got caught underneath the ball. He's hoping that his full-back partner will bail him out. But he's got caught flat-footed, and Caligiuri's just leaned over the top of the left-back and got enough purchase on the header to divert it past the despairing Onana.
Well, Nabil Bentaleb has picked up an injury in that incident, which I'm amazed went unpunished, because there was clearly contact. Bentaleb, the former Spurs man, is hopping up and down and getting a round of applause. They do have, of course, one substitution still up their sleeve, which Marcus Weinzel, the manager, can make. Quickly taken free kick by Johannes Geis. Is too quick, really, and too far ahead of Caligiuri. Well, there's 1 minute to be added on at the end of the opening period of extra time, which has seen Schalke complete the comeback from 2-0 down to 3-2 up. And you'd think another goal from them would set the seal on it, but of course Ajax only need to score once, so, you know, one bit of luck, one mistake. If Schalke give away a free kick just outside the box, or even a penalty, then the whole thing could change again, even though the Dutch side only have 10 men. Sanchez goes flying in. Dolberg can't get a touch. It comes out to Klaassen in midfield. He's wrestled off by the ball by Geis, who I agree with you has been brilliant since he came on as a sub. Here's Maya down to Bergstaller, who got the goal which equalised the tie at 2-2. Still Manchester United 1, Anderlecht 1 at Old Trafford. Still Besiktas 2, Lyon 1 in Turkey. So half-time at the Veltins Arena, and Schalke have got themselves ahead at the interval in extra time. It's Schalke 3, Ajax 0, 3-2 they lead on aggregate. Welcome back. We've just kicked off for the final 15 minutes of what's been a very, very dramatic Europa League quarter-final second leg. Schalke came into the game trailing by 2-0, having been comprehensively outplayed in Amsterdam. Their goalkeeper Ralph Farman was by some distance their man of the match, but they've certainly turned it on, and we talked about their good home record, unbeaten in 7 games from the end of January in the Veltins Arena, which is a very happy place at the moment, with Daniel Caligiuri in the 100th minute having headed Schalke into a 3-2 lead and put them a giant stride towards the semi-finals of the Europa League, where only Celta Vigo at the moment have guaranteed a spot. It is still level between Manchester United 2-2 on aggregate against Anderlecht and Besiktas 3-3 on aggregate against Lyon. Here at least we have a team leading, and it is the team who've trailed for the majority of the tie. 0-0 at half-time here, but then 2 goals in the 53rd and 56th minute by Goretzka and Bergstaller before Caligiuri headed in from a super cross by Kolasinac. Manchester United 2, Anderlecht 1. Marcus Rashford, 107 minutes at Old Trafford. Here's the ball in from Ajax, and it's easily grabbed by Farman. So Manchester United, through the precocious teenager that they have. We've talked a lot about teenagers tonight with the young Ajax team, but Marcus Rashford, still only 19, has put Manchester United 2-1 up after Henrik Mkhitaryan's early goal had been cancelled out by Sofiane Hani. So at the moment it's Manchester United, Celta Vigo, Schalke, and whoever wins out of Besiktas and Lyon, which is the only game which potentially is in the state of being level at the moment. Here's Bergstaller clipping it forward towards Huntelaar. It's knocked away by De Ligt, and then there's a handball in there, and the referee has awarded Ajax a free kick, which they've taken very quickly. It's driven forward by David Klaassen up towards Hakim Ziyech, who's beaten in the air by Schalke, who are very close now to a win which would just make their season, really. They've been dreadful in the Bundesliga overall. Huntelaar's offside, collecting that pass as he shoots. The flag was up very early. This is a long way, this performance, Reece, from the shambolic display against bottom club Darmstadt. They'd only won one of their last 5 games coming into this one, but they've certainly not played like a team lacking in confidence and lacking in recent decent results tonight, particularly in the second half and the first period of extra time.
I feared for them at the start of the game, especially when they didn't take advantage of their dominance in the first 10 minutes.
Now Younis has gone charging through and has body checked Sasha Rita. He's, to his credit, gone over to make sure the former Fulham man is okay. I'm not sure how bad it was, really. The referee is just going to have a short word with him, but that's it. Rita hobbles away slightly and decides to leave the free kick to Benedict Howardez.
Trying to work out if he was injured or just stiff.
Well, he clattered into him, but when we saw the replay, it didn't look. It was one of those that didn't look as bad, actually, as it did when you saw it in real time. We've had 109 minutes of the 120 to be played at the Veltins Arena, where Schalke are on the back foot at the moment with Dolberg. That's nicely done by the teenage Danish international, a recent international debutant, but he's lost it in midfield. Ajax win it back with Sanchez finding Van der Beek. Through midfield it goes and finds its way somehow to Klaassen. Now Tete, half cut out by Meyer, but Sanchez will come forward again for Ajax. Remember, they only need one goal and they almost got it. That was a brilliant save by Ralph Farman from the long shot by V Ajax, who struck it brilliantly with his left foot. It was arrowing towards the corner, and that is absolutely top class goalkeeping by Farman. The danger not clear yet. Ajax are in again, and they've scored. The ball has been scuffed into the net, and Ajax, incredibly, with 10 men, have got the goal, an away goal, which might send them into the semi-finals. I'm just trying to see who prodded it in. There was a clash in the defensive area. It was Nick Viergever who produced a fantastic save from Farman. When the ball came back in, he just managed to get there first before the defender collided with the defender and injured himself, but he's put the ball into the net, and incredibly Ajax are now back in front in the tie, courtesy of an away goal. Incredible stuff.
Well. I've predicted absolutely nothing correctly this evening, and that's continuing in the same vein, because Ajax from nothing have pulled a goal out of the bag. Viergever has gone in for a tackle and it's ricocheted off him and thrown it to the top corner. Moments before that, Farman produced a save of the night from Viergever down to his left hand side. A great strong wrist to divert that ball away from danger, but no more than seconds later, Ajax have nicked the goal from nothing, and they're back in the driving seat in this tie. But
Here's Kolasinac, who's caused all kinds of problems for them. Oh, has he given a penalty? No, he hasn't. Oh, he was pointing near the spot the referee pointed. Goal kick. My goodness me, quite a lot of the Schalke fans behind that goal. There was a definite coming together. And, well, there was contact between the two of them. We're going to get the final Schalke substitution now. Donis Avidai, a German-born Kosovan international, is going to come on and replace Sasha Rita. That's a striker for a fullback, which is something you'd expect from a team who are now, having completed what we thought was the great comeback, find themselves an away goal away from going out.
You've got the Ajax's formation. They've still got 3 people up front. They're a man down. They're playing 4-2-3. They're in the driving seat in the tie, having just got that invaluable away goal, and they're still trying to play their normal game. It's incredible.
It is bizarre. Credit to them, I suppose, but it is a chancy tactic. The goal came in the 111th minute. Still Manchester United 2, Anderlecht 1 at Old Trafford, as Schalke now look to complete another comeback, but the ball is pinched by Dolberg, who's off down the left-hand side. He's done quite well, the Dane there, although he's in the end been penalised for leaning on his man. Johannes Geiss, just a yard inside the Ajax half, takes the free kick. It's rolled across towards Kolasinac. Well, if anyone can deliver, he can. Here's the cross into the box. It's repelled, though, by the Ajax defence. Schalke are having to throw absolutely everybody forward now. Geiss lifting it into the box. It's nodded away by Tete. Only as far as Meyer, who smashed it across the edge of the 6-yard box, but smashed it way too high and too hard, and it's gone flying out of play on the far side. Well, Nick Viergever, who picked up a yellow card in this game, which will prevent him from playing in the first leg of the semi-final, has certainly atoned for that with a goal which will propel Ajax potentially towards their first European trophy in this competition since 1992. Their first in any since Justin Kluivert's dad got the winner in the Champions League, but it's not over yet. That was in 95. The ball is forward towards Bergstaller. Schalke are going to be absolutely distraught if they go out in this manner, because having come back from 2-0 down to 3-0 up against 10 men, they would have expected to seal the deal. The goalkeeper Onana, who is on a yellow card, will have to stop wasting time, because if he gets booked, he'll be suspended for the semi-final, provided Ajax get there. And they're 5 minutes away, thanks to Nick Viergever's late scrambled goal. As you say, he didn't know too much about it. The ball was knocked onto his foot, and he had his instep open, and it just rocketed back past the keeper. Here come Ajax again with Kenny Tete. They're not heading for the corner flag, are they? The ball has come all the way across to Armin Younes. Younes into the Schalke box, plays Ziyech in. Great save again. Ziyech might get a second chance, and once again Farman pounces. That would have been game over if Ziyech had managed to score there for Ajax, but Farman, who will be the unluckiest of the Schalke players if they don't go through, given his heroic performances in both legs, managed to clutch the ball, having made the early save. Huntelaar trying to get there. The crowd say handball. The referee's not interested. Ajax suddenly have a break on here. The ball is chipped over the top by Dolberg, and there is a real chance here of a clinching goal, and it's put wide by Viergever again. He's supposed to be a centre half playing at left back. At the moment he's playing like a sort of free roving midfield player.
And Ajax are down to 10 men, by the way.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? The fact that, not only, as you said, that they've kept their shape with 3 up front. Hang on, let's see what Schalke can do with this shot. Not very much. It's cannon back from the shot by Avidai, the substitute. They're not only continuing to play with 3 up front, but they're not heading for the corner flag. They're trying to get another goal. I suppose you have to admire it, but it's not the usual tactic that any coach in this situation would employ. Here's Kolasinac. into the box, headed away by Sanchez. Dolberg just clips it into Ziyech, and Ajax will try and come forward again with all this youthful vigour. It's Kenny Tete tries to play it into Sanchez. The two defenders
What is Sanchez doing?
in the first line of attack. Sanchez is a big centre half who was collecting a pass, and the two furthest men forward for Ajax were their right back and their central defender. Having seen Vergiva, the other fullback, do likewise. It's an extraordinary sight. It really is. You don't know whether to kind of admire it or just think it's a bit mad.
It's the joy of youth, John. It's just, where's the energy come from? We're in the 118th minute, and I tell you one thing, if I was still playing, I would not be foraging forward from centre-back, having played 117 minutes of football.
Manchester United still leading 2-1 against Anderlecht. Marcus Rashford's extra time goal looks like it's taking them through. It looks like penalties between Besiktas and Lyon. There are 118 minutes there, and it's all square. Here's Kolasinac getting to the byline. Did it cross the byline? It didn't. It's hooked away by Ajax though. Here's Geis back in for Schalke. Half cleared by Sanchez and then smashed on the volley up in the air and away for a throw by Ziyech. We've had 118 minutes nearly at the Veltins Arena, and Ajax, whose amazing group of youngsters are on the threshold of a place in the semi-finals, but they have to defend for the last couple of minutes. Bear in mind they're down to 10 men after Jurl Veltman was sent off in the second half. Goalkeeper Farman has come up for this corner in front of the huge bank of Schalke supporters at that end. Well, it'd be a story if the goalkeeper provided the winning goal. Here's the corner. It's towards him. Oh, it's a great header by Huntelaar. And it was saved well by Onana, but it wouldn't have counted because the referee has awarded a free kick for a foul on Ziyech. Huntelaar got his head to the ball and it went goalwards. It was a good smart save by Onana. But we're watching a replay and he's got both his hands on the shoulders of Ziyech and is applying downward pressure, and the referee absolutely correctly has awarded a free kick. You're listening to Schalke against Ajax in the Europa League, live on TalkSport 2 with Selco Builders Warehouse. Great trade prices, could be closer than you think. Find your nearest store at selcobw.com. Very, very close now to an improbable Ajax victory. I think we were tipping Ajax to win, but not really in the way that it looks as if they're going to do it. No, absolutely amazing. Oh, it's given away, and here's Van der Beek finding Klaassen to Ziyech. Ziyech rolls the ball forward. It's a lovely ball. There's no flag here. It's a chance. It's a goal. Armin Younes has wrapped it up for Ajax. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. It is 4-3 to the Dutch side, who are going to lose on the night but win overall. It's been an unbelievable tie, and Ajax, with their team of youngsters, have surely booked their place in the semi-finals. Clever through ball by Ziyech. Armin Younes stayed on side, cut inside his man and rifled a right foot shot inside Farman's near post, and Ajax have done it.
They certainly have, and that man Younes has been one of Ajax's shining lights all evening. Had a relatively quiet second half by his standards, but he's come to life in the last minute of extra time. His team hanging on by a thin thread to a very narrow advantage. Nastasic is very, very tired. He plays everyone on side.
Manchester United have won. They're through to the semis, and so too have Ajax. The final whistle has blown at the Veltins Arena in a quite astonishing tie. Ajax came into it odds-on favourites after the 2-0 win in Amsterdam, but by the 56th minute, 2-0 had become 2-2 on aggregate, with Goretzka and Bergstaller both scoring for Schalke, who then made it 3-0 on the night and 3-2 on aggregate thanks to Caliguri's header in the 101st minute. But then Nick Vergiva got a 111th minute away goal, which would have been enough to take Ajax through, but they settled it once and for all with virtually the last kick of the game. Armin Younes made it 3-2 on the night, but unbelievably Ajax, who had Jol Veltman sent off, managed to get back and get themselves into the semi-final. Absolutely extraordinary night in Gelsenkirchen has ended Schalke 3, Ajax 2, but on aggregate it is Ajax who go through, having won 4-3 over the two ties.